his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and his disciples standing by, whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then said he to the disciple, that is John, Behold thy mother. And from that hour, that disciple, that is John, took her unto his own home. Great passage. A message, Mother's Day message from the cross. This is the final stage of Jesus' earthly ministry. And he uses as a podium the cross. He has spoken from several settings. He's spoken from boats. Sometimes it was empty boats that he turned into a net-breaking boat sinking load of fish. Sometimes it was boats in a storm. And there he spoke the words to an angry sea, very simply, peace be still. Different settings. Sometimes he spoke in fields where he talked about good seed and good soil, and different kinds of seed and different kinds of soil. He spoke. Sometimes he used the graveyard as his setting, where he defanged the demoniac and called the devils to come out of him. He had different settings, where he spoke in public, spoke in personal houses, spoke in some houses that couldn't contain all the people, and they had to cut a hole. He spoke at Peter's mother-in-law's house, where he took the heat from the fever and made her well. Jesus used a lot of settings. But today, at the end of his ministry, he uses the cross. This is unusual because it doesn't seem like you use a cross to preach from when you're suffering. But he gives us lessons here that even when you're hurting, you can bless somebody else as well. Usually we feel sorry for ourselves when we're hurting and think only of our own pain when we're hurting. But Jesus gives us a lesson as to how to minister to others when you're hurting yourself. And so today, we take a look at him, a message, Mother's Day message from the cross. This saying, "Moment, behold thy son, son, behold thy mother," this saying falls into the category of what some call the 7 last sayings of Jesus. 7 last sayings, where he ministered to others from the cross. His first saying is most certainly noteworthy in that he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." He takes time to ask God to forgive those who are hurting him. Great lesson for us. Don't leave without asking God to minister to those who are hurting you, to forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Now, that was really noteworthy, because usually folk on the cross died cussing folk out. And he dies saying, "Father, forgive them." Then noteworthy again, his second words from the cross, he takes time to open the doors of the church and invites a thief to come to paradise and says, "I offer you salvation, and this day thou shalt be with me in paradise," from the cross. I'll save the third one for the last point, but his fourth words from the cross, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Where he stepped out of the shoes of a son, stepped into the shoes of a sinner, bearing the sins of the world, and God turns his back as he takes on sins of the whole world. Someone has said, well, when he put my sins, he had everybody else, but when he put my sins, that was enough to make God turn his back. The fifth word he issues from the cross, "I thirst," which is his personal need that he talks about finally in the fifth place. And 5 is the number of grace. 5th, I thirst. Then the 6th word from the cross, it is finished. It is the word tetelestai, used to pay the debt off. It is a word used to say of a champion who has just won the race is finished. And that's unusual to say it's finished. I won when his hands are still nails. And he teaches us how to shout before the battle is over. Then the last word, the 7th word, into thy hands I commend my spirit. Very simply put, he was saying, I'm putting it all in God's hands. Could elaborate on that, but I won't. Putting it in his hands. But the third word is an unusual word. An unusual word because he says, from the cross, in the midst of his pain, he looks out for his mother. What a touching assignment. Some people are so heavenly minded, they're no earthly good. It wouldn't have been nice if he just took care of the thief on the cross and not take care of his mama. He had an earthly responsibility to look out for his mother. And so he says, he looks out for his mother. I think one of the things that stands out as the text reads, like when the text reads, verse 25, now there stood by the cross. Listen at that. What got his attention was the close proximity in which they stood while he was being executed as a criminal. He stood by the cross. You got to catch that. The rest of the disciples were conspicuously absent. They had run out on him. They had disbanded. But not only was his mother there, but the disciple John was there, and the place where they stood, when you not want to be seen with somebody who's publicly executed, but he stood by the cross. Have mercy. He says, he saw him. There stood by the cross of Jesus. Now, notice again the text says, when, verse 26, when Jesus, therefore, here it is, saw his mother and the disciple, meaning John, he didn't want to call his own name, he didn't want to toot his own horn. He calls himself the other disciple. He said, but when he saw his mama and John standing by the cross. Boy, that's a powerful statement. They weren't ashamed. They wasn't hiding. They weren't ducking. They weren't afraid to be identified with Jesus. The text acts like this is what prompted him to say what he said. And he said, so his mother, John said it was his mother. But he said Jesus said, watch this, it was his mother, but he said to establish and redefine what mothership is, what it means to be a mother. He said, let me redefine from the cross what it means means to be a mother and a son. He says, woman, take a look, a new look at what sonship is. Take a new look what mama is. Yeah. Take another look. Let me redefine. What a statement. That's a great statement because most of us have a warm, fuzzy feeling when it comes to mother. But there's some people who don't have that kind of experience. Some people, mother died when they were small. They don't know her. Some people, mother left them. Some people, mother mistreated them. And you don't feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside when it comes to mother. But Jesus says there are other people. There are other people who fit the category. God gives you other people who will stand with you. God gives you other people who take that role upon themselves. And it's people that God gives you. Blood ain't had nothing to do with this. Mama, John, woman, and he says woman. Now keep in mind, he said he called his mother woman at the beginning of his ministry. The wedding feast of Cana of Galilee, when they ran out of wine. And his mother asked him about it. And he said, woman, what is that? What is running out of wine got to do with me? I got a greater calling on my life than filling wine jars and filling in for folk at wedding ceremonies. But since you asked, let me do something. Since you asked, let me turn common drinking water into fine drinking wine. Since you asked. Now here again, at the end of his ministry, on the cross, at the end of his ministry, he says, let me remind you of what real motherhood. Let me redefine. John ain't got none of your blood in you. But from now on, this is your son. Yeah. And now keep in mind, where are the rest of his brothers and sisters? Mark 6:3 says he has at least 4 brothers. Yeah. And Mark calls them out by name. But John doesn't call them out by name. Not only are they not there, but they ain't standing by no cross because they don't want to be identified with that. And I need somebody who's going to stand with me in the thick and the thin. They're not there. John, Mama, look on John as your son. Now here's the problem. She had other children. Stella, she had other children. But Jesus said, what I want for my mama is John take care of mama. That's what now, wait a minute. His other brother, James, wrote one book in the Bible. He made the cut. He is the one who said, count it all joy when you fall into divers trials, knowing this the trying of your faith working patience. He was a preacher, but he wasn't a caregiver. He pastored a church, but he wasn't good as a caregiver. James, go on and do your church, but I got somebody else to take care of mama. Now this is good because the text says it all. He says, woman, watch this, behold. And that's a word that it's an imperative mood, which means it's a command, and it has much weight to it. It means look at now. Look at my mama as your mama from now on. Behold, look. Wait a minute. That word behold is an interjection, which means surprise. Open your eyes. You better hear me, somebody. Open your eyes to what God is trying to tell you. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. Open your eyes and see that God has given you somebody to be your spiritual mama. Somebody. Talking to some people the other day, they were saying, my mama, I don't know her. There's somebody. Somebody God is. You got to open your eyes. You got to open your eyes. Somebody will stand with you. They standing by the cross. They ain't hiding. They ain't ducking. No, they standing by the cross. Now watch this. Watch this. His brothers and sisters didn't believe he was the Messiah until after the resurrection. His own family didn't believe it. Wait a minute. His mother at one time thought he was crazy. Mary thought he had lost his mind and got the family together and said, let's go get him. He about to make somebody mad. He had lost his mind. Sometimes your family don't understand you. They don't understand. They don't understand your mission. They don't understand it. I remember going through something at my first church, and my relatives were saying, come home, quick. You don't have to deal with that. Yes, I do, if that's my assignment. My assignment. Woman, take a look at John. And then he says, John, open your eyes to your new mama. Open your eyes. No need of having a pity party about who ain't there. And who ain't there for you, because sometimes if you're not careful, you'll have a pity party. But who wasn't there for you? Who took advantage of you? Who should have been there but left you all by yourself? When you needed them, they were laughing. You were crying, but they were laughing. He said, open your eyes now. And sometimes it's in these situations that God reveals, lets the scales fall off your eyes and say, this is your new family. I got somebody else for you. I hate to think what my life would be without the people God placed in my life. Jesus redefines what a family is, what a caretaker is. Now, you know, I couldn't get over the fact Jesus looked over her blood kids. Never called her name, never said, tell Mary Jr. She got to take care of mama. As if Jesus said, let them go on about their business. Let them go on about their business. But I know who the real caretaker is. Yeah. John doesn't seem like a likely candidate to be named Mary's caretaking son. Doesn't seem like that. He's the one that was assigned to that job. And John is known as the disciple whom Jesus loved. Now, James was a leader in the church. But John had the job, not as leader of the church. John had the job of just simply taking care of his mama. That was John's job, his assignment. How valuable is your assignment? Doesn't seem like that should be mentioned in the same category as pastoring the church, Peter with the keys to the kingdom, all of that. Doesn't seem like it should be all of that. But it is. We see how important it is because they sent John to Rome to be tried. And they found John guilty. They were going to publicly execute him where everybody could see. They wanted everybody to see. Crowds are there eating popcorn and drinking drinks and what have you. They're there to see John get fried. They light the big pot of oil. They light it. They wait for it to get hot. They want to see John fry. They put John in the pot. Lower him down in the pot. Crowd is waiting to hear him holler. Not a word. The oil won't boil. They see the fire, but the oil won't boil. They see the attendance, but the oil won't boil. The people see the attendance, but they see that the oil won't boil. All of a sudden, folks started yelling. Folks started getting saved at the execution. Folks started to get saved. Folks shouting, hallelujah. They turned the boiling into an evangelistic service. The emperor is scared now. I guess you would be scared. You put a fire on and it ain't boiling. We got to get rid of this man. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. They send John to the Isle of Patmos. I've been to Patmos Island. One of the things that the guides told us, John's church is on Patmos Island. He pastored a little church on Patmos Island. And Mary, the mother of Jesus, was one of John's members at that little church. Yeah. And I asked John, why didn't the oil boil? Why didn't it kill you? Why didn't it work? And he said, because I was on my assignment. And nothing can happen to you. And you got an assignment. God wasn't ready to take you out because your assignment wasn't over. Yes, sir. And can't nothing happen to you until your hour's coming. John said, Jesus told me. And he said, don't you remember when Jesus was telling Peter, feed my sheep? And I showed up, and Peter said, what about this man? And I told him, if John lived till I come again, that ain't your business. And that's a good thing to close out on. Mind your own business. Get your assignment. Get your assignment. You just be sure that you got your assignment. You ain't got time to worry about nobody else. Carry out your assignment. Ever so small, ever so great. Carry out your assignment. I'm through.